Hi and welcome to my 500 subscriber celebration video. I can't believe it. Thank you so much to everyone who pressed that beautiful subscribe button. And we're going to celebrate with 3 videos. This is one of the 3 and this one is my new shell challenge. Exciting. And I'm going to show you what I did with the shell. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the story of the Sims living there and this house and how the shell challenge fits into the story. And I hope you're going to enjoy it and also have fun with the shell if you want to try it. Let's get to it. Okay, so what I wanted to do with the shell is I wanted to have a kind of magical feel. I wanted to have a tower and I wanted to have a beautiful base shape for you to work with. I know a lot of shell challenges make it very difficult for the people to participate with their shapes and stuff, and I think that's awesome to have like a real challenge. But for my 500 subscriber celebration, I just wanted to include everyone that wants to participate, and so that is why I'm not only doing a shell challenge for us builders, but I'm also doing a sim challenge with a base sim that can be decorated for people who prefer that. And also I am making a story video that is like kind of open-ended and still has like a lot of potential for people who want to get involved and make a story. But I know how much work it is to make such a story video or a machinima, so I don't expect anyone to do that, but I just wanted to include everyone. Basically was my thought. So I didn't want to make it too big, too difficult. It ended up being like medium big. I would say it's not like a tiny house by any means, but it's not massive. I made this house in a session of 2 days where I didn't have that much time. So I think it's doable. I hope so at least. So yeah, I wanted to include this tower, I wanted to make it look magical, but just to add like that little bit of difficulty and that little bit of a twist, I later added a diagonal where another front part comes off of it. You'll see that in a second. And that adds a little bit of difficulty, but I know that part was very hard to roof. And I know a lot of people don't like roofing, so I added a roof to the shell where the diagonal is already roofed with the front part, and I think it looks kind of nice, but you of course can always delete the roofing and do your own thing. I even encourage that. That's amazing. So yeah, do with the roofing or with the shape, whatever you want. This was my first draft for the shell where it didn't have the diagonal, but I feel like it was a little bit like lopsided, so a little bit heavy on the one side, and then there wasn't much going on the other side, so I added the diagonal on the other side, and I think I really like how the shape came out in the end. And even though, because of the story that I'm going to tell you a little bit later, I made it into like a magical, almost fairy house in the woods, but I think this shape also translates well into a lot of other styles of building. So I could also really well imagine a Victorian style build with this. I think that would work perfectly well. I can also imagine a suburban house with it, just a classic suburban with a nice front porch, but then it just has a tower, because why not? I can also imagine a Tudor style build with it. But yeah, when it comes to the story, it's kind of made in the way that there is this family living in this house. The mother of this family is a magician, and then the story revolves around the daughter of this magician and a guy that she saved in the woods, and it's all pretty cute and stuff, and they live there in this beautiful magical house in the woods. Now I just called my own house beautiful, but that was the thought behind it. They live in a beautiful magical house in the woods, and the house is filled with plants and lights and magic. until an experiment made by the mother in the room on top, where she has like her cauldron and all of her magical stuff and the potions, until that experiment goes wrong. And and the cauldron explodes, and there are all of these potions that like shatter and also catch fire, and then a big fire starts. And at the end, the house is basically all burned down and stuff, and then the daughter, who's the only one who survives, decides to clean up the whole house and completely redo it, and kind of like embrace society a little bit more. So she socializes with people from the nearby village, and these people like help her to clean up the mess that the fire has left, and to basically restore the house and make it into something new and hopefully beautiful. And so yeah, that's where the shell challenge comes in. So the shell challenge is basically the version of this house after it's been cleaned up from the fire and completely like has taken everything out, and you are the person who decides what the daughter does with the house now, what style she wants to go for. And I would say within the story, I'm also going to link the sim challenge video and the story video in the description, but in the story it's kind of like she has always lived in the woods her entire life, but now that she's all on her own, there are people from the village who've seen the fire who come, and she first learns to socialize and to go back to the little city that is like kind of nearby, and really learn about like society and other people and stuff. So I thought it would make sense if the houses that are made of the shell could be influenced by the style that she sees in the houses in this little city. But the nice thing is this story is set in a fantasy world, so the houses in this little city can have like every style imaginable. They can have this magical style that it had before, and she recreates something similar but not exactly the same. Or it can be a Tudor style, like medieval city. It can also be like an elven city. It can be a Victorian city, like old English, beautiful Victorian city. Or it could also be a city filled with like super colorful, like rounded houses that no one has seen before. So you can basically do everything with it. It can even be a city filled with modern houses. This has like no time frame and anything, so I really hope that you will have fun with the shell and that you come up with lots of amazing different things. But I'm sure, because I know how many like amazing builders out there, and even if you don't think of yourself as an amazing builder, you definitely like have all of the potential, you have all of the thoughts that maybe no one else has in combining these objects. And I'm just like grateful for everyone who takes the time to do the shell, and I'm going to tour all of them. So I'm going to make a video where I do like a quick cinematic tour of the exterior and interior of all the entrance here in the YouTube channel, but I'm also going to do more like long-term reaction tours on my Twitch channel that I'm also going to link in the description. And I would like to tour the builds on the 10th of June, and then also start preparing the video that I want to upload on the 15th of June. So you have until around the 9th or 10th of June, and I hope that's enough time. If a lot of people say that that's not enough time in the comments, if you already have like lots of stuff going on IRL, or if you have lots of other shell challenge that you want to do, we can always push that to later. But now the time frame that I have in mind for the deadline is the 10th of June. And yeah, so I'm also going to put that and like all of the rules for the shell challenge in the description. It doesn't really have any specific rules. One rule that would be important to me is please no basements, because basements are always really hard to tour in the cinematic tours for YouTube, because the cinematic camera is pretty glitchy if you want to like go down into a basement. So please no basements added, but you can, however, add additional buildings on the outside as long as they don't touch the initial shell. So you can add like greenhouses, you can add like little tree houses for kids to play in, whatever you want basically, as long as it doesn't touch the initial shell. And of course, I think also if the additional building would be even bigger than this shell, I think that would also be like kind of weird, because then what's the main building? But yeah, as long as it's like smaller than this shell and it doesn't touch the initial shell, it's all good. Add as many little buildings as you want. Another thing is you can change the wall height. Just please don't delete any walls. Yeah, that's it. Don't touch my walls, as the rules of a shell challenge usually are. You can of course add rules, you can of course add walls in the interior, and you can of course add porches and all of that good stuff on the exterior. I would even say you can definitely add balconies if you want to, just as long as these balconies aren't surrounded with like full walls or half walls, but just with fences. That's all fine. Yeah, that's just like basic shell challenge rules, I would say. There's no budget, and I just hope that you have fun with it, because I definitely had a lot of fun decorating this shell and making it into this like magical forest hut. I had lots of fun with it because beforehand I had like terrible builder's block. Like I couldn't build, the things didn't turn out the way I wanted them to look, and I get so frustrated. As you have maybe recognized, I haven't uploaded a video in over a week because I just couldn't produce anything that I was happy with, until I finally had this shell and made it, and I decorated it, and it just worked. And I was so happy. So I hope maybe it can also inspire you a little bit. That would be amazing. So this the speed build just covers the building of and decorating of the exterior and the landscaping. There's a lot of landscaping going on afterwards, because as I said, it's supposed to be in the middle of the woods and it's also magical, so I wanted to add 2 ponds and stuff. But yeah, if I would have also included the interior within the speed build, yeah, that would have taken up a lot of time. So the interior is toured in the cinematic tour in the end, and I hope you are going to like it, because I was also so happy with the interior. I added a little bit of a greenhouse on the side that was like part of the house, and also has a dining room within it, and it's just full of plants, and there's all that light because it's surrounded by these glass windows, these big ones. And I just wish I had that room in real life. So if you have the time, please stick around for the tour, so that I can show you this like greenhouse kind of place, because I'm so happy. I usually am so insecure about my interiors, but this time I just like really hope you like it, because I finally made a room that I'm absolutely obsessed with. And that I want to put in all of my builds yet from now on, but I don't really know if that's going to work, because it's like very very specific to this like magical overgrown style. So yeah, now you can see me first work with the terrain, which also added a little bit of like immersion, and I was very happy that I put this build into Windenburg, this like little island that there is in Windenburg, because that island is one of the few places in the Sims world that isn't completely flat, but that has a little bit of natural terrain. And so I think even though there is this like kind of hill out of nowhere, it doesn't look too out of place, especially later when I also decorated it with all kinds of plants, and some parts of it are like hidden with all different kinds of trees and stuff. And also I did one thing that you won't get when you download this build, even though it's up, also not even though, but also it's up for download on my gallery. My gallery name is SunnyCreations, and there you find the shell and also this build if you want to play in it with some sort of like magical sim, or just like a very nature driven sim. I think this would be fitting for. So yeah, I uploaded it to there, but when you download it, like all of the landscape, then like all of the landscaping that is on the lot should still be there, but I also added a little bit of landscaping around the lot and made there be a lot more trees and stuff with the tool mod with which you can just grab a tree and just place it outside of your lot, which is super handy because I didn't really know if we had any lots in The Sims that are like surrounded by forest. I know there are some in Outdoor Retreat, but Outdoor Retreat just didn't have the vibe that I wanted, so I just added a more foresty area to the surrounding of this. But there's also lots of trees on the slot itself that you're going to get when you download this build, and I hope you like it. Okay, so now to the landscaping. I now made these two little ponds that surround the right side of this build, and I also surrounded these ponds with like nice landscaping and lots of like flowers, and also on top of the ponds there is like a lot of seagrass and stuff going on, so I really like that. And then of course there needed to be lots and lots of flowers because I'm just like obsessed with placing flowers, and this was supposed to look magical, and flowers really help with making things look magical. And I really need to set it as a challenge for myself to build a modern house very, very soon, because I just get into this habit with landscaping where in the end you just can't see the ground anymore. And I think that's a little bit too much. For this build, of course, it was very fitting, so I definitely did it here too. And also for my elven build that I did recently, that was also super fitting for this. But I need to build a house very soon where it's not fitting to have the whole ground covered by flowers. So maybe you're going to see a modern build from me very soon, where I try to tone it down a little bit with the flowers and the landscaping, and just use it very precisely and in specific areas for the effect, and not like throw flowers everywhere like I do most of the time. That's going to be, I think, a very nice learning opportunity for me. And these like pieces of grass that you see me place now, I really like to cover up the steeper areas of terrain, because they are just like this high grass, and when you place it you can cover up this stone texture of the ground very nicely, which was exactly what I needed in this situation. And I think it worked pretty well. Of course, I could have also done this with like stones, but for this build I just felt like plants everywhere. It's in the middle of the forest, there's a witch living in there, so I just allowed myself to go wild, and that was a lot of fun. And with that, the exterior of this shell is almost complete. I really hope you like the shape of the shell and that you can get inspired by it, and it would be an honor for me if you would take part in my 500 subscriber celebration shell challenge, because I'm just so excited. I'm so excited. I am so happy. I am so incredibly thankful to have reached this milestone. So thank you so much again. I wouldn't have thought in the beginning of starting a YouTube channel that I would reach 500 subscribers in less than a year. Also, pretty soon, also in June, maybe even around the time that we are touring these builds, it's going to be my 1-year anniversary on YouTube. So if you have any idea of what we could do for that, I'm always open to ideas and listening. And yeah, I'm super excited. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked and enjoyed this video. Stick around for the tour where you can see the interior, and thank you so much for watching again. Bye!